T.E., and we're not going to tell you anything else about him. I'm certain that I'm not going to accidentally say his name this time. But his initials are T.E., though, interestingly enough, he often goes by a different set of initials as a nickname. So there's a hint and a confusion. However, when I speak to him or refer to him, I refer to him with his T.E. related name. Interesting. It's true. Not everybody does. Not everybody does.
Brilliant thinker, brilliant business strategist and marketer, and I'm duly impressed with him or her.
That's right, with them.
Yes.
So check it out. I think we should probably start with some positive focus. I need that right now.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I've been getting my ass kicked for a couple of days. What are you positive about right now, Joshua? You got anything good?
Well, building on, I got tons of good stuff going on, but building on non-business related, building on our conversation with Yannick on Wednesday. And if you're just joining us and you didn't happen to catch that live, I highly recommend going back through either in the Art of Email Marketing or on Telman's profile or on mine and looking for that live and watching it. That was like awesome. And one of the things that Yannick recommended to me and to all of us, but it was based on something that I was saying that I do when I was journaling, is he said, write the questions with your right hand and answer it with your left hand. And I did that the next day, which was yesterday, and again today. And yesterday I had this surreal experience where it felt like after I got over the initial, like, this sucks, because it really did suck. I mean, like I had to
chicken scratch.
Well, I had to, my brain just isn't wired to write with my left hand. Right?
I know. I've tried it before. It's really tough.
But something really like all the self-consciousness about, like, am I doing it right? Is this this sucks. I'm not really getting anything out of it because my head was so much in, trying to figure out how to write rather than just be the channel, so to speak. But towards the end of it, it started to flow, and it was illegible in some regards, but it didn't matter because it was starting to flow. I went back to start writing with my right hand again once that whole process was done. And I wanted to just kind of like document out some of the things that I wrote with my left hand,
right,
just to make sure that I captured it. Cause I decided to capture with my left hand in an actual physical journal.
Yeah.
And on my iPad with my right hand on the iPad, so that I wouldn't waste time switching back and forth and blah, blah, blah. So, but I wanted to capture in my iPad what it was. So, long story short, I started writing it and I started seeing it, but then all of a sudden, whatever it felt like something not me took control of my right hand, and I started to write like a left-handed person, like I was writing the answers in my left hand. And it was freaky in a good way. It was just like, and I was very aware that I had like two competing energies. One was like the conscious mind and one was my higher self or whatever, but it was coming through, and then it lasted afterwards the same thing. And then I continued it this morning. I didn't have that kind of extreme surreal experience this morning, but I did start to write a lot clearer and good flow started happening. And then I decided to take a picture of the my handwritten stuff in a journal and add it to my iPad related notes. So lots of really incredibly great insights came from it. And the left hand, right hand, it was just, it's freaky, man. I don't know if everybody has the same experience, but it was definitely something different. Was neurons were firing that had never fired before, for sure.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I'm looking forward to trying that.
It's neat.
Oh, let's see.
I thought of you because of the experience that you shared with me about driving home from
Monroe.
Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like that to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same experience, but it
Right.
felt like that connection.
Like a metaphysical moving out
crazy,
out of the physical world into a different dimension in some
and
way.
it was like through
Yeah.
me, through my head, through
Yeah.
my hands. It was like it was weird. I
Yeah.
had to really focus on not being scared and not trying to shut it down, because my controlling type A personality wanted to, like, nope. But then I was like, no, I want this. I want to see what this is about. And
Yeah.
so it was very, I'm sorry to bring it back, but that you just reminded me with, the experience that you shared.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do my positive focus about, so I'm glad you went first. However, it's funny that because something happened this morning that was really quite astonishing and really great, but I had forgotten about it. So one way or the other, for the last day or two, I've been having a pretty hard time emotionally. And I had a call scheduled. It was a business call scheduled for noon today. And with a guy that I don't think you know, but maybe you do. His name is Dane Maxwell.
I know the name, but I don't know him personally.
Such a nice guy. This guy. So Dane, I don't truly know him that well either. But after Jody and I separated and I was all torn up about it, about a year and a half ago, Dane flew out from Idaho, like Des Moines, I think, and hung out with me for a day and then flew back.
Neat.
And
very cool.
Just because he's like, dude, it seemed like you could use a friend right now. And he totally jumped on a plane, flew out. But we weren't that close. We've never done any business deals. We had never really hung out that much. He was just like friend in need. And he flew out. And I was like, wow. And we had he's one of the most heart-centered men I've ever encountered.
Neat. Very neat.
Truly a truly compassionate, sympathetic, emotionally intelligent individual. And so we were going to get into this business conversation about this new project he's working on. And he's like, so how are you doing? And I told him how I was doing. And he's like, okay, you want to do an experiment? And then he took me through this whole this whole meditative process that just kind of helped me to really release a lot of the negative and bad feelings that I had been experiencing for the last couple of days that were just kind of holding on to me. And it was incredible. It was really, really, really good. And
awesome.
So hats off to Dane Maxwell, dude. You're awesome.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, yeah. So with that said, here's what we're doing. So we are actively attracting more perfect clients. And what we've been doing on these live streams is Joshua and I have been experimenting with talking through our business discussions, not all of, but some of our behind the scenes business discussions where we're figuring out our marketing, we're figuring out our messaging, we're figuring out our funnels, we're figuring out our positioning. And we can talk about these on private phone calls, and we meet every morning at 8 a.m. We're doing more with weekly planning sessions. We have calls when we need to on a regular basis. But we're like, wow, what if we publicly talked through some of our challenges, confusion, the problems that we're looking to solve?
Things that we knew but we forgot.
Lots of those. What's up?
Yeah.
Jesus. If I only remembered a tenth of what I've forgotten.
That's why it's so important to start with what's working, because it's so true that I forget all the stuff that is working, and
right.
So then you're like, I don't know whether it's just my personality, but I tend to go through, to the stuff that I want to fix that I'm not where I want to be yet.
Yeah.
And I forget about like the stuff that is working or that has worked. And then I find that I'm reinventing downstream the same stuff that I've already solved.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up, Max?
It's very, very interesting. So we've been consulting with this guy. We mentioned, I guess he's a guy. TE. And TE has shared with us some principles, and we've been working out some of the messaging to, again, really attract perfect clients. And the things that we're talking through right now and getting more clarity on are, number one, I'm just pulling up my notepad here. Number one is the big promise of, in this case, what the NPOD process, the NPOD methodology delivers, right? When people when people become clients and students of NPOD, what comes out the other side? What do they get, right?
Right.
We talk about who those people are, and we have a pretty good understanding of who they are. And then we're also talking about the three biggest challenges or obstacles that the NPOD process solves that allow people to get the big thing that we're promising, right?
And I think some of the stuff that's very useful that we still have yet to really get clear on, but I think it's extremely useful, frankly, for everybody that's ever faced with doing what we're doing for themselves or for other people or in collaboration with others, is that what are the things that in order for them to accept the solution, what has to happen prior to that mentally for them? What journey do they have to go on? What limiting beliefs do they have to give up in order to benefit from, or, have a new foundation, a new awareness of what's possible that is missing right now that would keep them from fully accepting and understanding what it is that we're offering. And we started talking through some of this on Wednesday when we were talking about scalable, and these words that are becoming so we think automated and scalable that everybody knows what we mean when they say that. But I think two things are going on. One is that it's become commoditized and that people just don't hear it anymore because it doesn't mean anything to them. And the ones that do are, they're not hearing it the way that we intend it to be, the way that we hear it when we say it and what it means to us and the benefits. And so I think there's a whole chain of what has to happen in order for them to accept this and this and this.
That's right.
For them to see the vision of what makes an NPOD so special and what having this type of a business asset built this way does for them. Then, what has to happen before that, what has to happen before that, and what happens, and I think there's probably 3 or 4 steps, not to say that there aren't people that get it, that when our message hits them, they're ready to hear it right now, but those people haven't been brought through the awareness cycle yet.
That's right. So our very wordy promise, I'm going to give you our very wordy promise, and then our kind of one-liner that we came up with near the end that seemed to resonate well with some people. So the wordy promise that is not clear yet is how to build an automated, or to get an automated, passion-based internet business that automatically attracts and creates new customers and subscribers every day that makes sales of your products and services for you automatically. So obviously not a very well-structured sentence. The tagline that we ended up with is the perfect internet business plan and the ability to create it. Now, maybe that's where we're going to end, or maybe that's just a starting point to get even more clear. I like how clear it sounds, though, right? And our audience, who can really benefit the most from going through NPOD? Well, I can say as a hypnotherapist, I benefited an enormous amount by allowing my one-on-one hypnosis sessions that I used to create working with people face-to-face ultimately to be able to create completely recorded versions of my knowledge and expertise and to start selling recordings, right? And that gave me enormous leverage.
And I think you just hit on something, and I've been thinking about this. I don't know if I've ever voiced it directly to you or not, but I've been thinking about it, that there's really, and I think this is what is creating confusion for our communications with other people. It's that there's two sides to that automation process, right? There's the marketing piece, and then there's the business model piece.
Yeah.
And really, NPOD is all about the business model marketing aspects of it. It really isn't about designing your products or services, although it includes that.
Right.
But it really isn't that. And so I think maybe it needs to be more specific to not just so if you're a hypnotherapist, it's not going to teach you specifically how to do what you did with, going from trading your time for the sessions and that type of thing. But it will show you how to automate the relationship building process and have clients coming to you on a regular basis. And then how you can do that in mass, where it doesn't rely on you. Like for you to get busier, you could fill up your practice without getting, from your marketing efforts, without spending any more time. But the scalable piece or the other piece would have to come from altering or, transference of that. And really that it's a conjunction or a conjoining of the marketing model then becomes the product, and the product becomes the marketing model. And I think that's where things are getting really confused by somebody that doesn't get, that hasn't ever experienced that. Because by going the part about the marketing that I think a lot of people miss is that done right, it increases the relationship, it increases the value, it increases everything that happens with your clients, prospects, customers, whatever it is, as it goes. And it's not just like it's not a taking away from. The journey helps them all the way through, regardless of whether they purchase or not.
Mm-hmm.
And,
that's true. So here's the thing. It's not as if NPOD only does one thing. That's not the case. Okay. However, we need to really get clear on what the big thing that it does that our ideal clients want. Right. And I think that's what we're talking through right now.
Yeah, but it really, and here's the thing, because I think we've been talking about building the business of their dreams too much.
Maybe.
I think it's more about implementing this and having a proven track to run on, and 90% marketing driven, like to do it in a way that you can be proud of, that you can, that the business plan is about taking what you like, actually implementing and actually getting experiential, having the learn and do simultaneously, learn by doing framework. And that's primarily marketing first, building an audience first.
I hear you. That's what it does, but that's not what they want. Like, that's the solution, right? But like, what's the thing that they're looking for? So I don't know that this is not it yet. I have a systematic marketing machine that consistently sells your or others' products and services 24/7.
I think one of the core things that people want is they want control and certainty. They want to be able to know not guessing, that they can dial it up and dial it back, and know that it doesn't rely on them being a superstar salesperson or talker, that literally it's like having a dial that they can dial it up, dial it back. And that really, at the end of the day, it's about control. It's about having the that systematic certainty, that, you know, control over your destiny. And whether that has to do with, you know, getting a steady flow of new clients in, or new sales, or new prospects, or new people to promote affiliate products to, it's having that. To me, it's I keep going back to the controlling the tap.
Well, but in a way, controlling the tap is a metaphor, right? Obviously, there's no actual tap in this case, and so it's a good metaphor. You know, it's a good picture in the mind, but I don't know that that's what people are looking for, because I think again, that idea solves a problem, right? And so, what's the problem that it solves? What's the promise?
Getting business to come to you, as opposed to you having to go after it and chase it down. I mean, at the end of the day, it's flipping the tables so that the people are excited to get communications from you, whatever those communications are. They're excited. They're anticipating that their mental conversations with you via email or whatever. They're anticipating you become the bright spot in their day.
Right.
And that allows them to, your audience, to come to you, as opposed to you having to chase them down and saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
I mean, I feel that that is something that it gives people, but I don't know. It's what in my mind, I'm struggling with a few things. One is I keep on saying that sells your products and services, and in the back of my mind, I hear and affiliates, and it does sell affiliates products or services, and that's how I made my first $1 million. But I didn't do it that way because I wanted to be an affiliate marketer. I did it because it was convenient. And I think that one of the big challenges that affiliate marketers have is that if they're trying to learn affiliate marketing, they're basically kind of taking the easy way out in a way, because you don't have to learn how to write copy. You don't have to come up with your own products. But that's a really good excuse not to take the time to bond with your list too, because you're not really representing your own stuff. You're slogging somebody else's shit. And so I kind of want to take the words other people's products out of that and cover that in the training. If someone asks, you know, can you do this without your own products or services? Absolutely. Let me tell you how I did that. Right.
I think, and this goes back to one of those things that I was talking about earlier, the you know, what do they have to accept or understand and have a new level of awareness and get over a limiting belief in order to really fully grasp what it is that we're doing. And I think I just got a big one that came to me listening to you. It's that the audience first approach, as opposed to product first approach. They have to understand that what the whole goal here is not to market your products or even anybody else's products. It's to gather up your audience and create them in a way that it's to install at minimum a level of respect where you become an authority on this subject matter to your audience. And that's huge, because once you get there and you start with that in mind, that's what we're building. It's the audience, it's the relationship with that audience, then everything else comes afterwards. And that is a huge shift, because most people start immediately with what is it I'm going to sell them and what is it going to look like, and whether it's an affiliate product. And Christopher.
Hey, Christopher. Good morning, dude. Here's I think we're running into a problem. So even when talking with TE, he's not necessarily looking at this exactly the same way that you and I are, because he's not influenced by the NPOD principles in the same way. when we say our audience, are coaches, consultants, salespeople, therapists, service providers, authors, influencers, and thought leaders. That's what we have written down. That's not specific. Do they all have a bunch of stuff in common? They sure do, but that's not one audience. That's 8 different audiences. And the way we're going to speak to them, the way we're going to talk to them, the way we're going to market to them, even if NPOD is great for all of them, right? The way we're going to talk to an author is totally different than the way we're going to talk to a salesperson.
Correct. But at the end of the day, I think, and this is one of, in my opinion, this is one of the big rocks that we've got to get people to understand. It's a foundational belief that needs to shift. And whether they're an author, I mean, how many authors do we know that they're trying to write the book first or come up with the perfect outline before they have their gathering of readers, where it's so much easier to do the other way first. And then you've got, ongoing forever, any type of content or books that you come up in the future. So I agree with you that there's not just one audience group, but I'm just talking about it's kind of like what was revolutionary to me when I first, and it's not quite the same, but what Gary Halbert said and his process was to write the sales letter first before the product even exists.
Right.
Okay. And what I'm saying, what we're saying, and what NPOD was built around originally, and it still is that essence, is to, if you build it, they will come. No, if you gather the audience,
right,
then you can build whatever it is. So it's like not even write the sales letter first and then design the product afterwards. It's gather your tribe together, gather your group together, influence them, create value, build up momentum, and then create marketing, and then create. And totally that's a huge.
What I'm saying is, I agree with you, and I don't think we're following our own advice right now. That's what I'm saying. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's why our messaging is I think that's what we're bonking our heads up against. So, for example, we know that lawyers can use NPOD in order to get more business, right? We know it. If you're a divorce attorney, right, you could totally build an NPOD and have a line out the door for your practice.
Real estate.
Okay? But the way we're going to talk to a lawyer is totally different than the way we're going to talk to a real estate agent.
Correct.
Okay? On the sales letter with the promise, what the big things they're looking for and how we're going to work. They might be the same things that have to shift, but the way we're going to talk about them, totally different. And so what I'm saying is, like NPOD, in NPOD, the Oholic factor. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I love Jeeps. I love Harley Davidsons. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a freaking butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I love radio controlled cars. We don't have our audience clear.
I agree, but so is it what you're saying is that the messaging is what you're trying to come up with, the positioning messaging is off because of that?
Because of the lack of clarity around our audience. Let's look at TE's examples that we've seen. We both know that they're really focused on network marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super clear. You and I both know a perfect profile of what a network marketer is like, right? And the way that the language that's used in the promise, the language that's used in all of those things is built around that one career, profession, financial path, whatever you being into MLM, right? And that makes everything else sound clear. I think that's a huge part of our problem. If we just said, you know what, I'm not saying we should, but if we said the only people we're talking to are authors, people that love to write books, okay?
Well, let's even get more granular. Let's talk about your list for right now.
My list?
Yes.
Great. The hypno money mindset
prosperity, abundance, yeah.
prosperity, abundance, with a hopefully bit of a entrepreneurial flavor in there, especially from all the people that are following me from all of my marketing stuff prior to shifting over to hypnosis 10 years ago.
Christopher just chimed in. I mean, he's been giving all sorts of great insights in the comments, but he also just said that he loves this open brainstorming. Well, we thought so too, and we're loving it too. So I'm glad. I wonder if it's just us three that are loving it, or if others are enjoying the openness of it. Anyway, continue, Telman, your list.
You remember when Christopher was telling us how who he helps and how clear
super clear.
He just put in a comment that said, I narrowed it down to doctors, and then the financial people showed up. And that's one of the most interesting things. So back to my list. So as a hypnotist, all hypnotists face the same problem I think you and I are facing right now, dude, which goes back to Oholic factor. So as a hypnotist, I can create a hypnosis session for almost anything. Right? Any way someone feels, any weird habit, any skill they want to improve, any type of perspective shift they want to have. If you can imagine it, I can create a hypnosis session around it, right? That'll probably help you. And most hypnotists can. And that's one of the things that
limits them,
awesome, right? It's limitless.
But it limits them because then they try to appeal to all of that, and they end up, great point. So like, how do we bring this back to, like, if all we're thinking about right now is attracting the ideal clients for us from your list of that money mindset audience, and we know that they were super interested in Matt Basak's program and the way that he presented it because of the and I know that you're in the process of putting some sort of a bonus together just for the people that on your list that purchased. But what is like what would appeal to, or what would have to happen? What messaging would have to happen? Not so that we mold ourselves to make it so that we get the maximum conversions off of your list, but so that the people on your list can immediately perk up their hand and say, yes, that's me. And it coincides with people that we want.
So this may or may not be it, but because we do want people who have established businesses more than we want people who have nothing, right? But budding entrepreneurs could be the target. And I know we've talked about entrepreneurs before, and do people have a good or a negative connotation with the word entrepreneur? It's a mixed bag. I think it's more positive now than ever. But if people like the idea and embrace the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, or becoming an internet entrepreneur, or becoming an internet marketer or email marketer, right, to add to what they're already doing, right? If they're there and they want to learn directly,
that's low-hanging fruit, for sure. But I think we've already skimmed that cream.
I agree. But
at least
who's the ideal customer, right? It's like,
well, but I mean, like that. It goes back to what TE was telling us, and I think he's dead on that like, out of all the different options that are available that solve the problem, we're at a very small subset, which is great. But what we've got to do is, in order to appeal to those people, we've got to the people that all face a deep problem that we can solve. We've got to take them on a journey through the other options and show them why, and get them and lead them to the point where they get and they understand why email marketing, or why those types of approaches. So all I'm saying is that if we look at your list to start with, and there is an approach that, like for me, the way that I would position it, if it was my list solely and I had complete control over your list and what we would do with it, what I would do is I would enter in and I would start creating a conversation around people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that they're ready to start going pro and really taking it seriously and that they're, they're ready to follow in the footsteps of, what's his face? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Bagger Vance, the guy that wrote Bagger Vance.
I don't remember his name.
I just mentioned him anyway. That they're ready to start. They understand now that stop looking for the shortcuts. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'm staying with this, and I'm going to the top of the mountain, and the world is either going to see me summit the mountain because I got there, or dead on the side of the road for trying, but I'm not stopping, and I'm going to enjoy the process in between. I mean, like they're ready to shift into that way of being, and not all of the people on your list. In fact, probably, at best 20%
Right.
are able to, they're thinking about it. And frankly, because of the pandemic, that they're more open to that than ever before, that they realize that I've got to shift, and it's on me to create something. And I'm tired of playing a small game. It is time to play a bigger game. And Pressfield. Yes. Thank you, Chris. Yes. Stephen Pressfield, he wrote a book about creativity and going pro and fighting the resistance and all of that. When you make the decision to stop being an amateur and stop letting the obstacles stop you, and you're in it, and that it's not that the obstacles aren't going to come, and you accept that the obstacles are always going to be there, but that you're going to keep going regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Then it doesn't matter, like everything. So the way that I would view your list and what we could do to the maximum benefit to them and to the list is get people that have already come to that conclusion on their own, but haven't started to take action, but they're there, and get people that are on the fence, not giving it talk to it, but on the fence, and showing them, leading them, guiding them to make that decision, not pushing them, but allowing them to make that decision. Boom. Regardless of whether they've been in business before, but they're at that cusp, like you were when NPod fell on your.
I'm thinking about people who are up for a challenge. Okay. And what's in my mind right now is, do you have what it takes? Do you have what it takes to become a successful internet entrepreneur? Yes, you're about to find out. And that's where the survey begins.
I think that would work for the people that are already over the edge, but I think it's going to fail miserably to your list right now.
It may. It's hard to say.
I mean, fail miserably is going to be,
or it might find the perfect people.
Well, I think it will, but I think we may have already found them. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot more, but
I think so too. But so let's even do it more granular than that. Let's say, okay, let's speak to all the people that decided that they wanted to purchase Matt Basak's email marketing book from your list. There's only a couple hundred of them?
Yeah, a few hundred. Yep.
So if we were just speaking to those people instead of but knowing that they're on your list for a specific reason, and still keep that in mind, but just talk to those people. Like, what is it and maybe that's where the survey should start. But I don't think it should start with, are you entrepreneur enough, or are you, I think that's not going to be the way to get, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you ready to take control of your destiny, your future? Here's a simple step-by-step, plan to do so. Find out if if you qualify for that, or if this appeals to you, type thing. You know what I mean?
I do. See, I feel as if what we were doing is, if we were going after authors, that I could speak really clearly and find the authors on the list. I feel as if we were going after healers of any form, we could
customize. Well, do you want to do that?
we could very clearly go after healers. If we're going after business owners, existing business owners, great. And they're looking to go online and build an automated.
Yeah, but that's a Venn. That's a subset, because it's not just, I mean, like healers, authors, they are existing business owners, some of them.
Right. But
so, I mean, like that now that, but I don't believe that they see themselves first as a existing business owner, as an entrepreneur, where it is that you and I do. Right. I mean, that's a part of our identity.
I thought about myself as a business owner since I started my first business. I mean, I was a salsa.
Right, but a lot of people don't. They're independent. But they think of themselves as a healer, as an author, as they own a practice of some sort. They think of themselves as a coach or as a as a consultant, but they don't necessarily lead. Yes, technically they are a business owner because they have to,
Let's send them an email that just says, do you own a business? If so, what kind? Boom. We'll find out in a hurry. We'll find out exactly what kind of business owners we have. I've never just done a Dean Jackson style, super simple email asking them, do they own a business? That's going to tell us exactly what we got.
Okay.
Boom. Interesting. I also have to jet at 3, which is in 5 minutes. So how about this? So first of all, I'm gonna write this down.
And then, I mean, the other thing that we could do pretty damn fast, actually, is we could, of the 6 or 7 that you just said, we could come up with one for that, one for authors, one for healers, one for this, and just do a variation of the quiz for that.
Yeah.
And move them into IFL.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's talk about, the audience. So if we go back down to the 3 big beliefs, I have a thought on this. It's a little one, but it's the idea of expanding your existing beliefs rather than to break your limiting beliefs. The idea is, well, what's the belief you have now?
Yeah.
And let's expand that to give you a little bit of a bigger world.
See further. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Expand your beliefs around business and money. Guess what? You get to expand the amount of money you make right along with it. Pretty simple. So let's expand some.
Let me
expand your bank
shifts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
shifts. The 3, mega shifts, or the 3 prosperity shifts, or the 3 money mindset shifts to increase your results, or something like that. Because shifts is a big word for your marketplace.
And maybe entrepreneurial isn't right, but the 3 entrepreneurial shifts is kind of good. But we'll figure out the wording around that. I got shifts. So we have the audience first approach versus the product first approach. So, the 3 things that I have listed here from before are traffic, list building, and technology, right?
Those are extremely tactical, but in order for those to be a question, first and foremost, I believe that we got to be focused in on, we're not trying to do those 3 things to build sales for products. We're trying to do those 3 things to attract and bond with an audience, and to create relationship and rapport and respect with an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge, awareness to stand on top of. That's your business shift, your money mindset shift,
just check it out though. Like the what are the beliefs that need to be shifted or expanded, right? And I think that that one of them, it might be the first one, is I've got to have a product first, right? Got to have a product first. That's the shift, right? That's the existing belief,
right?
Right.
And we need to have that expand to start with your audience, start with the people that you seek to serve.
New belief or expanded belief.
Right. new awareness
Build
that is going to.
your audience first, then find out what products and services they want to buy.
Christopher just came up with a couple or three cool ideas too. Your conscious cash shift, attract and support your audience, your big business shift. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Christopher. Another belief, you know what? Let's go through a bunch of the beliefs that are basically objections that people have and why they think they can't or are afraid to try to,
and also challenges that people have that are keeping them where they are because they just have a different frame. They're wired as though it has to look this way.
Yeah, like what's stopping you from building a successful internet business that does all these things, really?
And I also want to remind you that you said you had to jet at 3 and it is 1 minute of.
Yes, great. All right. Well, do you have any other limiting beliefs that are off the top of your tongue there, off the tip of your tongue at this point, or should we just call it?
I'm sure that we could go down a rabbit hole and come up with some good stuff, but I don't have anything that's jumping right out at me like the audience.
A big one is I don't know how to do the technology.
Yeah. Technology is, that's stopping me.
I don't know how to put up web pages, right? I mean, simply.
Christopher just said something really, really cool, and it's right in alignment with what we started. But we're all wired for danger. Help them to escape.
Interesting. And then
time of death, call it. I think he's saying it's time to put a fork in it. We're done.
Yeah, I know. Another one is, what's a common one about live streaming, for example? I don't know what I'd write. I don't know what I'd say.
I'd run out of things to talk about. Yeah, that was a big one.
That's why I can't be a guru, right?
Yeah, and that extends to email too, right? I mean, like that. Like I don't have. I'm not an expert on anything. I don't have anything that I could. Why would people even listen to me? I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Like first I have to get to this point before I can do X.
All right, we're gonna have to keep brainstorming. What we need to do is we need to think about the things that are the limiting beliefs that NPod also solves as they go through the process, so they end up building these things. And we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. We're making great progress. And also, I think I want to keep in mind that it's about us remembering that there's a certain set of thoughts that need to, NPod might solve it, but not if they don't correctly understand what the basis is. So, like, I think that's where, like, if we can do some of that pre-paving and build and think about, like you just did with this process, tracing back to like, all right, so what is what's that limiting belief that they have it dialed into? And then what is how do we have to help them expand their awareness?
Yeah. Or is it about limiting beliefs at all? Because I kind of feel like it's not. I kind of feel like it's more about like the key educational modules in NPod.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like call it a limiting belief or whatever, but a belief is a thought, right? And like you've pointed out time and time again, and I agree with you 100%, all beliefs are limiting, right?
By
so
nature,
when you get dialed into it having to look a certain way, that this is the way it is, then you cut off all other possibilities. Yeah. And now your world is filtered through that.
Right.
And that's what we have to help them to start to see. In order for them to take full advantage of NPod, they have to start to expand that filter away from there. So whatever you want to call it, a thought process dialed into a certain way of their the way I have it is X, and that's the truth. That's my reality. That's the way it is.
Yeah. All right. I need to go jump on this call.
Okay.
This is
Hi,
very
Gene.
good.
Bye, Gene.
Hi, Gene. Bye, Gene. Hi, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for all the comments and interaction, especially you, Chris. You were on fire today. Really appreciate it.
As always, thank you.
All right.
Gene, sorry we didn't get to spend much time, but thank you.
You know who I'm talking with?
Who?
Eric Owens.
Oh, tell EO I said hello.
I will. All right.
See ya.
Later. Hey, Joshua. How late in the afternoon are you available to chat today?
Depends on how long you want to go and how deep.
I'll call you and we'll figure it out.
All right, cool.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Have a great weekend.
You too.